As the United States assumed the role for the arsenal of freedom for the world during World War II, it subsequently gave the voice of persecution towards 120,000 legal Japanese residents, depriving them of their constitutional rights, confining them in internment camps, and declaring them enemy aliens.
Living in that zone were more than 100,000 persons of Japanese ancestry, 2/3 of them American citizens, 1/3 aliens. We knew that some among them were potentially dangerous, but no one knew what would happen among this concentrated population if Japanese forces should try to invade our shores. Military authorities therefore determined that all of them, citizens and aliens alike, would have to move.
Although declared enemy aliens by the War Department, many Japanese Americans sought to prove their loyalty to the nation by joining the armed forces. As the United States continued to suffer mounting casualties as the war dragged on, President Roosevelt reversed his initial restriction forbidding Japanese American men from joining the military. On March 23, 1943, the 442nd Combat Regimental Team was formed. Some 13,000 Japanese Americans, some in internment camps, volunteered for the Army.
I'm from Seattle. After war was declared, I was evacuated from the Pacific Coast. When the call came for volunteers for a combat team, I volunteered from a relocation center to show my loyalty and to prove that I had the right to live as a good American citizen.
Their motto was "Go for broke." They sought to prove that they were loyal American citizens to a nation that saw them as an enemy. Joining the 442nd were former members of the Hawaiian National Guard who were in a state of limbo when World War II broke out and deemed possible threats because of their Japanese heritage. These soldiers, already enlisted before World War II, were reinstated as the 100th Infantry Battalion and would be the first Japanese Americans to fight in the war. Their motto was, "Remember Pearl Harbor." On May 1, 1944, the 442nd was assigned to Italy, north of Rome. From there, they successfully drove Hitler's troops to the treacherous and cold mountains of northern Italy, and ultimately defeating and capturing Hitler's forces, and earning the respect of their very own American commanding officers.
All of you Americans of Japanese descent have a right to be proud today. You have demonstrated true Americanism and true American citizenship on the field of battle, for you have reached the high standards of American fighting men. You are always willing to close with the enemy. He has no bluff on you, and you've always defeated him. And let me tell you again, America is proud of you. And I know that whatever future action you go into, you will conduct yourselves with glory and bring about the peace that we are entitled to. Good luck to you, and God bless you.
After their victories in Italy, the 442nd was sent to eastern France to continue their fight against Nazi forces in the Vosges Mountains, where 211 men of the elements of the 36th Texas Division were surrounded by German troops, and with food and ammunition low, were in danger of total annihilation. Two other units attempted to rescue the lost battalion, but failed. The third attempt was made by the 442nd, who were called to action with little rest. And after 5 days of brutal fighting, the mission culminated with the 442nd doing a direct banzai charge on German positions, breaching their lines and succeeding in rescuing the men of the lost battalion, who once viewed them with distrust and suspicion. The price was high for the 442nd, where it suffered 800 killed or wounded for their successful mission. In a recent discovery, elements of the regiment would go on to Germany, helping liberate parts of the Dachau concentration camp.
One of the greatest ironies of World War II happened there in Dachau when members of a persecuted minority, the Japanese Americans, many of whose families were still interned in the United States, reaching out to help members of another persecuted minority, the Jewish people of Europe. And what are our crimes? One for being Jewish and one for being Japanese. That's the only crime.
In such a short period, The 442nd made a significant impact in the campaigns they fought in, liberating various towns in Italy and France from Nazi rule, where these outcast soldiers are revered as heroes to this day, with monuments and streets named after their honor. In all, 800 brave soldiers of the 442nd paid the ultimate sacrifice by giving their lives to the nation, proving their loyalty to the nation that saw them as enemies. In fact, the 442nd became the most decorated unit of its size in U.S. military history. In less than 2 years of combat, the unit earned more than 18,000 awards, receiving 21 Congressional Medals of Honor, the highest citation you could get in the United States military. Of the 442nd, President Harry Truman said,
"You fought not only the enemy, but you fought prejudice, and you've won. Keep up that fight, and we'll continue to win. We'll make this great republic stand for just what its Constitution says it stands for, the welfare of all the people, all the time."
One hero of the 442nd is Sadao Munimori. Munimori was born in Los Angeles, California in 1922 to Issei Japanese immigrant parents. He was raised in Glendale, California, and his nickname was Spud because he preferred potatoes over rice. 1 month before the attack on Pearl Harbor, he enlisted in the United States Army. After the attack, he was relegated to manual labor while his parents and siblings were incarcerated in the internment camp in Manzanar. In 1944, Munimori was assigned to the 442nd and deployed to Italy. On April 5, 1945, the 442nd was assigned to the Gothic Line, where their mission was to penetrate German defensive positions that the U.S. Fifth Army was unable to do for 6 months. In a subsequent battle, Munimori's squad leader was injured and they were pinned down by German machine gun fire. Instinctively, Munimori charged up German machine gun positions, dodging a hail of German machine gun bullets, and took hand grenades and took out 2 German machine gun positions. He would then retreat to an impact crater where 2 of his comrades were taking cover. A German hand grenade would be thrown and it would bounce off Munimori's helmet to the ground. Munimori would then instinctively shield his body on the hand grenade, taking the brunt of the explosion, saving the 2 men. Munimori's death saved lives, and the 442nd was able to accomplish its mission, something that the U.S. Fifth Army failed to do. When Munimori's mother received her son's personal possessions, she discovered a photograph of herself stained with her son's own blood. Munimori's sacrifice was recognized with the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest award the nation could give to a soldier. Munimori was considered an enemy of the state, but he was recognized as a hero, an outcast hero. Like the 442nd, there's another outcast hero. Jesus came down to this earth to fight in the war called the Great Controversy in humanity's behalf. He came to his own, and his own received him not. And like Munimori, who gave his life for his friends, so too Jesus came down to lay down his life and suffer the full consequences of our sins so that we can be saved. And the motive behind Jesus' sacrifice is that he laid down his life because he saw us as friends. Friends that saw him as enemies. And by his stripes, we are healed. And today, where are you in viewing Jesus? The outcast hero has proved his loyalty to us. He died for us so we could live. Will you live for him?